So we can set that up now. You hit F4. The function keys are also arrow keys. So F4 and 1, 2, and 3 are the three positions. So we can hit 1 to select that, and then we can use the up and down arrow keys to change the letter and left and right the cursor. So our first operator's initials will be
RJP.
If you hold it down, it goes faster.
Very fast.
I mean, this can be changed at any time. So I mean, it's really not critical if you don't know who all the initials that you want to put in. Frequently, the third position, a lot of places would like to leave that for their auditor who comes by, does the quarterly verification. So for our second, initials.
Who's going to do the audit? You're going to have to back up and do the audit.
Well, either you can audit, Paul can audit both, or you can audit Marie's, and Marie can audit yours. It doesn't matter. Put it in. Just put PJC and then.
And like I said, it's only, you know, it's.
We can change that, yeah.
Yeah, you can change that anytime.
Or I can pretend to be, you know, when I come out here, don't know what I'm doing. I'll just.
PJC.
Put in number 1.
It's like, oh man, the flow's off. I'm Paul today.
DMR.
As far as today, we're going to be U. So hit 1. Now we're at our root menu, the top of the root menu. F1, F2, F3 are basically allow you to select certain menu items. F4 will scroll down the main menu. Backspace will scroll up the main menu. So our first selections are change filter, which will be, you know, what you use most often, so it's going to be at the top. And they're set date and time. We're going to look at that real quick, make sure we're set correctly. So F2. 7:30, and it's supposed to be standard time, so 12:45 is correct. So we'll save that. 3 is alternate sample day. If you have a Friday sample, how do you guys work it?
Pick it up on Monday.
On Monday.
Right in the comments. Sampler ran on Friday.
Because you're outside, because there's you guys use a 48 hour. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Because if that 48 hours is really strict, what you can do with the sampler is when you say like you come here on a say tomorrow is the run day. You come here to do your filter change. It's ready to run tomorrow. With alternate sample day, it'll say tomorrow, and you can change it for Monday. So you basically skip Friday, you get Monday, and be able to pick it up within the 48-hour window. That's just an example of how you can make use of alternate sample day if you want to adhere strictly to that 48 hour. We step through that. So I'm going to scroll down using F4. Our next options are calibration, maintenance, and audit. We're going to make extended use of calibration and audit today. We'll go to set up the instrument. Maintenance has a couple things, like you can manually turn on and off solenoids of the pump, just like, you know, general troubleshooting. You probably wouldn't go into that menu unless you're on the phone with RTI or URG troubleshooting something. They ask you to go in and check something out. So F4, we can view ID codes. We'll come back and look at those after we've done our site configuration. View operators. That operator screen that we showed, that's just a snapshot of that. There's no edit features there, but it shows you who is set up to run the instrument. F4 again. We can view the current elapsed time for the sample that's being run. Elapsed time is in minutes. Typically, a full sample day will be 1440. However, during the filter change process, the pump does come on, and there is sampling through the filter. The instrument does count that, so you can be as high as 1445, 1446 in your total elapsed time.
But valid is plus or minus 1 hour?
That's what the SOP says, yes.
Okay.
The next one down, F2, is view gain offset. Those are our flow calibration parameters. Those aren't set yet because we're the calibration. And F3 is the temperature and barometric pressure calibration parameters. And lastly, one more F4 down because it's for our site configuration. So F1 to enter. And the first thing it asks us for is our location code. That's going to basically be the HUS number of the site, followed by the POC. I believe the POC is 5, right? It should match the SAS. If you have a chain of custody handy, it's on there. We can look at it, but...
You sure it's supposed to be the same as the SAS? Because I didn't know we were supposed to double POC.
Well, we're essentially replacing the carbon channel, so that's my understanding. It's supposed to match the SAS.
Yeah, that's POC 5.
Yeah. Okay.
And so our site, what is it?
37
159
159
0021.
Okay. So 37 159 0021, and we add a 5 in the end of it.
Okay.
Enter. Next, you've got the serial number. That's the serial number of the controller. There are some sites that have a co-located unit, just like a co-located SAS. And so basically, it's just another one of these minus the controller, because one controller can actually control 2 units. In this case, we only have one module. So the most unique identifier will be the serial number on the controller, which I have is 0758. And the serial number is basically on the door, serial number for the module, and then serial number for the pump house is on the side there. It's right underneath the this.
Oh, okay.
And all this site config is something typically just do the first time.
Just do it once and it'll be saved. Yes, and it doesn't matter if you turn the power off or anything like that. It's saved in the controller. So 0758.
I'm sure something can happen though where you have to put it back in.
Well, for example, if your controller gets fried and they send you a new one, then you'd have to reprogram that controller. You'd also have to go through all the calibration and stuff like that again. So, number of modules, like I said before, we've only got one module. This isn't a co-located site. Enter. Next is our schedule. We do 1 and 3, 1 and 6, or that improved protocol where it would sequentially sample through the filters. So this instrument does support that method, but it requires RTI to send you up a cassette that's set up with those filters. But the improved method is for 1 and 3, so this site will never likely make use of that because we're 1 and 6. So that's option number 2 is 1 and 6. Sampling interval. This is basically the interval that data is written to the data card. By default, it's 15 minutes. I don't know of any reason for changing that. I mentioned before, that if your new data card is bad, you could leave the existing one in place because there's plenty of memory on the card, and I'm pretty sure that's what RTI will ask you to do if that arises. So no reason to change that. And lastly, sample time per hour. This is the duty cycle of the instrument. Right now it's going to be set up to run 60 minutes of every hour for the entire sample day. The only reason why you might want to consider changing this is if this was a heavily polluted site where you get heavy filter loading, which would cause your flow to drop, and eventually that would invalidate the sample because you wouldn't get an appropriate size cut any longer. You could change it so it would only run 50 or 40 minutes of every hour. So on the startup day, it'd run 40 minutes off 20, run 40 off 20. But you'd lose the sample anyway because you would violate the 24 plus or minus 1 hour of sampling. So 60 minutes, we'll leave it at 60. So that's the end of our site configuration.
Is there any way to view it and make sure everything...
That's what we're going to do right now, yes. I skipped over a couple options earlier because there was nothing to view until we had set it up.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit backspace twice. There's a view protocol, then hit F1. It's 1 and 6, and we're sample time per hour, 60 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then backspace out, then view ID codes. The first one is our location code, 37159.021 with the POC 5. The Q and I numbers, those are going to be sample specific. They're going to come from your chain of custodies. Because right now they're blank. Our serial number 0758. So everything looks like it was entered correctly. Alright, so now we're ready to start some calibrations. So the temperature calibration should be done before you do your leak check, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to remove the temperature probe from the flow line. So this would effectively invalidate any previous leak check. So I have my temperature reference here that I'm going to make use of. There is a temperature sensor housed right here. It's pretty hard to make use of, especially under windy conditions. And trying to keep the tetracal in the shade